I used to work as a fire lookout back in the day. I wasn't technically a proper one though, like you would expect. I was more of just a trail maintenance guy, rather than a dude who would sit up in the tower for hours on end every summer. I still worked the national parks though, and would see anything they got to say and help them out. It was more of just a ground level thing though, although sometimes I would help them out up there. I would do regular maintenance work along the trail. I would fix signage and clear up debris and shit left along the trail. Sometimes would fix busted staircases or other structures. Basically, whatever needed doing at the time, I was kind of the jack of all trades for the situation. It was by no means easy work, but the peace and quiet and time away from any kind of bosses nagging you every 5 seconds made it easier to get through. I liked the quiet, and being out in the middle of nowhere made me feel, I don't know, just more calm, I guess. So basically, there was not always work for me in between seasons. This is how I ended up filling in for a Firewatch tower one time. Like I said, this wasn't my usual thing, but I had filled in for people before and had a general idea of how it was supposed to go down. It was only supposed to be for a short amount of time, so I was down. My tower was probably about 60-ish feet off the ground, but I can't remember exactly. I definitely do not have a fear of heights, but sometimes when the wind was strong, you could see it kind of sway slightly, and it made me feel a little sick. It was way out of the way. It was placed in a much less populated area of the park that wasn't really used all that much. I'm not sure why it was placed there, but I have a funny feeling that no one ever wanted to work there. I had unfortunately already agreed, before even seeing which tower I would end up in. Like I said, just a week or two, no big deal. Someone else would be hired to relieve me at some point, and if not, more money for me. The first few days kinda hit me hard, I can't lie. Adjusting to these new sets of responsibilities was tough. It's a lot different up there. You don't really leave the tower much. You can't just decide to take a walk and go do some other shit. It does kinda mess with your head for a while, so I see why it's not the most popular job. I got used to it eventually though, but I did continue to suffer from a bit of sickness in the mornings, usually when I'd woken from a deep sleep and the reality set in about what my day was going to be like. I got into my routines. I would note things and plan things intricately, because I had nothing better to fucking do. Sure, there were a few others in other towers, but they weren't really the talking type. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not either. Not really a good combo for this situation. Anyway, so I would note down things like weather, things I'd spotted. Basically any small little thing you could think of, I would jot down in my notebook. Would even sketch the landscape sometimes, even though my drawings are pretty shitty. If you've ever played Red Dead Redemption 2, imagine Arthur's journal, except the drawings aren't half as good. I don't have this journal anymore, as it's been years, and I still kick myself for losing it. I want to mention that I had filled in several times before this, but usually in the more populated areas, so I would have a whole lot of public interactions, and other tasks to do, and just generally things to keep me sane. This was the last time I ever filled in though, before I moved on to other jobs. Most of the days were fine and chill, and there had been no big fires or anything at all. Had a few bits of thunder that I was shit scared would light a tree on fire, but no dice thankfully. I think after about a week was when I finally started to really sense something was wrong. This had never happened to me at any of the other locations, but I started to hear some sounds. These sounds really fucking bugged me. I don't know exactly how to describe it. It was a mix between a scraping sound and like a dragging sound. I usually heard it around nighttime or really early in the morning when the sun was just barely starting to come up. Sometimes it sounded like someone dragging something over dirt, and other times it sounded like someone dragging their fingernails across wood. It was never super loud, but I always managed to hear it. It was just one night every so often at first, but at the end of my last week, it was every fucking night. I got a little braver towards the end of my time, and I tried to catch whoever or whatever was making the sound. Figured it could easily be some idiot kids who snuck in and wanted to scare me for fun or whatever these jackasses do for fun nowadays. Never caught anything, at least not at first. Let me break greentext for just a moment and a bit of context. Now, what I am about to tell you sounds like some bullshit your average Reddit user would dream up and cream over while posting to NoSleep, but this actually fucking happened. Please just stick with me, because I don't have any answers for any of this shit. This time, I caught some kind of movement. It was just faint, and I didn't even believe my eyes initially. I saw something moving in the trees to the left of my tower. I don't mean running through the forested area on foot. I mean like, moving in the fucking trees. It definitely looked humanoid. It looked just like a human, but all I could see was like a black outline, some kind of silhouette. It was about 30 feet off the ground in some pine trees. It wasn't even swinging on branches or anything. It was like, jumping from tree to tree. It had a bit of weight to it too. When you were looking for it and were really paying attention, you could see those treetops shake a bit. The flashlights we had at the time were pretty ass, and I also did not want to risk alerting whoever this was, so I did not even bother trying to turn it on. I just kept watching as best as I could with my limited vision. I shit you not, he perched for a while at a tree, just out from the edge of the forested area. He fucking perched. I couldn't say for sure, but I was pretty sure whoever it was started staring at me. I ducked down almost on instinct and didn't look out for the rest of the night. There was no chance of me sleeping. I stayed up all night and I heard those sounds again, but they sounded louder this time. I swear to God, I could not help myself. I had to look. I got up slowly. It must have been just before sunup, and I peeked my head just over my tower to see. I turned my flashlight on. That was a fucking mistake. I saw what the thing was. It froze when I turned my flashlight on. Like, maybe I wouldn't notice it or something. Like a deer in headlights. I did not look for long, because my heart could not take it. All I could see was that the thing was big. It was crouched down, but looked like it would be around 5'8" if standing up completely. It was pale. I don't mean human pale, but unnaturally pale. Even though it was pale, the arms were like tinged green. Aside from that, it looked just like a human. It was also dragging something. I did not see what it was dragging in that moment. I ducked back down and tried to go back to sleep. I heard fast movement after that, going in the direction of the forest. The next morning, all hell broke loose. The radio was going non-stop and I slept through most of it. It took me forever to fall asleep. Someone came and got me. I think they were worried that something had happened to me because I did not check in when I was supposed to do. That is a big no-no. I got my ass chewed out, well and truly. I did not expect to wake up to my fucking dispatch supervisor standing over me. I woke up real fucking fast. After all of that, he brought me down with the other two lookout guys and started asking me questions. Started asking me if I'd seen or heard anything strange or seen signs of anyone on the trails up here. I was hesitant to tell them what I saw at first. I mean, who the fuck would believe me? I asked why. What he told me almost made me shit my pants out of fear. He told me that over the last couple of weeks, 3 different people have been reported missing. By wives, by family members. Said their last whereabouts was in this national park. I was like, what the fuck? Why have we only just heard about this now? He told me that they had already done a few searches over in the more populated areas, but that there was no sign. Said we needed to do a sweep of my area now. All of us together. We fucking found something. I don't know how to describe this without it seeming fake, but we found remains. Human remains. Not like a full person though, just bits and pieces, trails of blood, limbs. They were fucking stuffed into a tree, like when a squirrel hides its acorns for hibernation. It was a horrific sight. It is an image that still haunts me, and I have not been able to get it out of my head. Just like an arm stuffed deep into this tree, like the tree was fully carved out, not natural at all, and there's just bits and pieces stuffed in there. The supervisor ushered us out immediately. Obviously we called the police. They showed up mighty quickly. They pulled us aside and questioned us, had some black SUVs roll in, and the guys in them started to take over. They really grilled us, like they thought we had killed someone and done this. I mean, this is not something humanly possible. There were no signs of cuts or anything from any kind of tool. Tell me, what human could rip a person up with their bare hands and then carve out a tree and stuff them inside? One of us would have seen it. We would have seen something. I did not tell them what I saw. I was too scared about what might happen if I did. They didn't want to make a public scene, so most of the details were kept out of the papers at the time. It was only reported that they were missing and that search and rescue operations were taking place. Papers did not mention anything about the remains found or the state they were in. They closed off my section of the park for a few weeks while they investigated. I don't know if anything turned up. If it did, I was never made privy to it. Everything opened back up as normal after that, but I was not asked to be a lookout ever again. I still did my usual maintenance job for another year or so before moving on, but I think my conversation with my supervisor is what sealed the deal for me, in regards to working in the towers at least. I don't know if it was because he thought I was crazy, or because I did not report what I saw immediately or to any higher-ups. Maybe he thought I was a reckless asshole who scuppered any chance of finding the other two missing people and denied the families a chance to properly grieve. I asked to speak with him privately, told him that there was something that I had not shared, but that I was scared I would be made fun of. I told him everything I told you. The noises, the treetop movement, and that last night before everything went to shit. It wasn't a long conversation. He took some time after I told him to finally speak again. He was a no-nonsense guy. Think he used to be a drill instructor or something of the like before moving into this. Maybe someone higher up in the military instead. I don't have any of that kind of experience. All I know is he was very serious and very intimidating. I think he had hoped to get away from the horrors of war. He never told me he believed me, but he told me that the park had quite the long history of military usage. Told me that during the Cold War especially, there was an outpost situated at the edges of the park that was used for research of some kind. Told me it was way beyond him, but that it was stuff that was not nice. That is all he said. Not nice stuff. And finally, he told me I should grow up, knock some sense into myself, and tell the officers just trying to do their damn job what you saw, but without all of the fanciful nonsense. I don't know if because he didn't believe it, or if because it would be safer for me. Anyway, I tried to do just that. Called the local department, mentioned the case, mentioned who I was, all of that stuff. They weren't interested. Told me it was wrapped up, that they appreciated me taking the time to try and help, but that the case was no longer ongoing. So, yeah, X, that is about all I have. Any answers would do wonders for my mental state. We lived in a woods when I was a kid. There are more houses there now, but back then, our nearest neighbors were 2 miles away. My dad went out of town on a business trip for a couple of days, and Mom, clearly a little bit freaked out to be so alone, had all of the outside lights on, lighting up the yard like a football stadium. We were sitting there, watching TV, when the dogs started going nuts. We looked out of the back glass door, and they were in the back porch, barking in the direction of the woods, out at the edge of the property. It was weird. It was like these 2 big-ass German shepherds were afraid to leave the porch. Mom opened the back door a crack, and they turned to look at her, and started whining, and continued to bark out toward the woods. After a couple of minutes, they stopped, but still looked nervous as hell, whining and sort of pacing back and forth on the porch. Mom went to get the shotgun, and told me to let one of the dogs, the good one, best dog we ever had, in the house. Quiet for a couple of hours. Then they both cut loose again, at precisely the same time. The one inside ran to the back door and stood up with his front paws against it, barking and snarling like crazy. This time, we could actually see something back a few yards from the tree line, something pale and very, very tall. This was in the days before cell phones, and one of the handsets was right there by the door. Mom picked it up in one hand and opened the back door. The dog bolted out, and being the brave one, tore out across the backyard and then stopped about midway and just stood there barking and growling. Mom shouted that she had a gun and was calling the police. Holler fret, because county police will probably take an hour to get out to us, then slam the door. She told police dispatch that we had a trespasser, and I will never forget the way she described it over the phone. A trespasser, I think, or some kind of large animal, maybe a bear. A bear. Yeah, that was not what we were looking at, unless somebody let their pet polar bear escape. Whatever it was very pale. You could tell it was white, just shaded by the tree branches and foliage. And while it was extremely tall, it wasn't massive like a bear. Gangly is the word that best describes it. It looked like a pale, lanky man, only taller than any man should be. All the barking, shouting, threats of guns and cops, that thing never moved. just kept standing back there just beyond the reach of the floodlights, more lit by the moon through the trees. We sat there on the kitchen floor, Mom holding the gun across her lap, waiting for the cops to get there and whispering about what we thought it was. At least I was. Mom did not really want to think about it. While we waited, she tried to call Dad at the hotel, but he was out getting dinner with his boss and coworkers, East Coast to West Coast times, and while we watched, that thing seemed to turn, take no more than 2 steps, and just vanish. When the cops arrived, Mom glossed over the weirdness so they would not think she was nuts, and they went out to look. We tagged along behind them. They did not find anything, but we got a good gauge of how tall that thing was. Judging from the branches, it was somewhere between 8 to 9 feet tall. It was years before my mom let me play outside unsupervised. I complained about it to my dad once, and what he said scared me, nearly as bad as that thing had that night. Your mother's got it right. These woods are old, son, and you would be a fool to think we know everything that calls them home. It ain't all bad, but never let yourself think it's all good, or even natural. Hey, hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment because it lets YouTube know you like the content and helps more people to see these videos. My next big goal for the channel is 100,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I will be doing a Q&A video once we hit that goal. Thank you, and back to the stories. This happened one summer after in 2018 when my partner, stepdad and I decided to check out an abandoned factory near my parents' house. We were just picking up my partner when we passed by it, and without thinking much about it, we started talking about exploring the place. My stepdad, who tends to act on impulse like us, pulled over right by the building and we decided to go for it. It didn't take long to find a way inside. The factory was falling apart with broken windows, walls crumbling down, and most of the roof was missing. The only real obstacle was a doorway that had some debris in front of it. We cleared that away, and as soon as we stepped through the door, something felt off. It was the middle of the summer, but the air inside the building was freezing cold. I don't mean it was a little chilly. It felt like winter. It wasn't even a damp kind of cold, like you would expect from an abandoned building. And anyway, there was enough holes in the walls and roof that it should not have been that cold. The inside was just as trashed as the outside. Piles of broken machinery, rusted metal, and old wooden beams lay scattered around. As we moved farther into the building, my partner and stepdad went ahead to check out another room, and I wandered off by myself to look for some cabinets that had been left behind. It was like everything had just been abandoned overnight. Files, worker IDs, and even older sheets from the late 90s and early 2000s were scattered everywhere. Most of the orders were packed and ready to be shipped, but none of them had ever been sent out. My stepdad pointed out how strange that was, and the factory looked like it had been closed for many decades, even though the most recent data I found was 2002. The building at most had been abandoned for 16 years. I have no expertise in something such as how quickly buildings decay, but the whole place seemed very run down for only 16 years. As we were talking about how weird the place was, I started feeling something else. It wasn't just the cold or dust or the abandoned vibe. I was getting a feeling of danger, like something was watching us or maybe waiting for us to leave. I can't describe it any better than that. It was like my fight or flight response kicked in, but I didn't know why. I told my partner and stepdad, and they agreed that we should head out. It was odd, and we had not heard anything or seen anything strange, but we all felt it. We made our way back to the car, and just as we were pulling away from the building, my partner and I both noticed something in the doorway we had just come through, standing there. It was a figure. It was hard to make out clearly. It kind of looked human, but not exactly. Something about it did not sit right. It was like a person, but not. The figure did not move, as it just stood there, staring at us. My stepdad did not seem to notice, since he was too busy driving. My partner and I looked at each other at the same time, and asked if we had seen that thing in the door, so it was definitely not our imagination. We never went back to the factory. I can't shake the feeling whenever I drive past the building to my partner's house. I drive past the abandoned factory so often, and I wish I had never gone inside. 2007. On a hunting/fishing trip with some college bros in Alaska. Get dropped off in a woods by crazy bearded bush pilot. Thought we were gonna fucking die on the landing. He is supposed to come back to pick us up in a week. Set up camp maybe like 2 kilometers away near a stream. Next day go fishing with bros, catch fuckloads, make gigantic pot of stew. Wake up the next morning, see a pile of fish bones laying next to the pot. That's odd, but figure someone probably just deboned and left it all there. All of us head out for the day to do various things. 2 bros get back to camp before me as sun is setting. Hear them shout, "Ah, what the fuck?" Make it back. Find fresh and bloody moose parts laying around 10 feet away from our tents. Decide, we in bear country now. Going to move camp the next morning bright and early, because maybe the bears were attracted to our food or something. Have hard time sleeping. Get up to take a piss in the middle of the night. Hear grunting coming from the stream. Ah shit. Scamper to my tent and grab 12 gauge loaded with slugs. Head out to the stream to investigate. Shine flashlight over the stream. Sure as fuck. See a gigantic black bear along the tree line, about to walk into the stream. Take aim defensively, but realize it's difficult trying to hold a flashlight and shotty at the same time. You'd think they'd make an attachment for that or something. I figure if the bear charges me, I am going to empty my load in about 2 microseconds. Suddenly, hear the trees rustling on the other side of the stream. Aim flashlight again. The bear is not even looking at me now. Hear some crazy fucking noise that sounded like a goddamn velociraptor. Bear freaks out and starts hauling ass towards me. Oh fuck. Don't fire a single shot. Practically pee my pants, just about, and run back to camp to raise the alarm. Hear something that sounds like someone tearing paper. Bear makes shrieking noise. Get to the top of the embankment and shine my flashlight back down to the stream. Bear is thrashing around in the water with a chunk missing out of its side, shrieking, just shrieking. Buckets of blood pouring into the water. Hear the bushes to my left rustle a bit. Aim the flashlight over there, about to shit my pants. See a black and white, very long furry tail poking out from behind the bush, and 2 deep red eyes reflecting my light back at me. I've seen wolf eyes in the dark before. They are a golden color, and these were fucking red. Realize I am being stalked. No thanks. Run back into camp and shout that something just killed a fucking bear. Everyone wakes up and pulls out their rifles and shit. I tried to regrow my testicles as best as I could. We were about to head back to the stream to check it out, when we hear the bear shriek again, and then a really fucking loud crunching noise, like someone just ate a whole stack of Pringles right next to your ear. Bear instantly stops thrashing about, / making noise. Stand there with my 3 friends, weapons out, just listening, and wondering what in the fuck. Something splashes against my coat and 2 of my buddies, and all over the tents too, from the sound of it. Look down. My hands and arms are covered in blood, as is my coat. Big pile of spindly entrails is wrapped around my leg and halfway back to camp. We run as quickly as our legs will carry us, immediately pack up all our shit. My roommate tears up a shirt and makes a torch out of it. We go right the fuck back to the landing area and stay there until picked up 3 days later. Grizzled old pilot finally fucking arrives that Saturday. Asks us if we had a good time. We load up all of our shit and don't say a word. Disregard everything I've seen. Ask if there is other hunters in the area. Maybe someone poaching. Button on. You guys are the only ones out here. Fuck Alaska. I have never gone back. Be me, 2 years ago. Armed security guard at a bank. They have me making rounds outside the bank every hour. Start my round. Everything seems normal. Round nearly complete. Walking around the right side of the building, back to front of bank where the parking lot is. Round the corner and see a truck and a fucking Jason mask peering out from behind the tinted windows. Nope. Get back behind wall. Fuck this shit. I'm not going out like those armored car guys in Heat. Peek around corner. Mask still gazing straight ahead in the direction of the front door. Good. The robbers have not noticed me. Maybe I can sneak up behind when they exit the vehicle. Tactically sneak through the parking lot and duck behind a car, about 25 feet away. Prepare to draw my sidearm. Peek up from behind the car, and the mask has not moved at all in the past minute, still gazing straight ahead. What the fuck is going on here? My face went. I realize that the truck belongs to a regular customer of the bank who works as an actor in a haunted house, and there is nobody in there. Just a mask hanging from the rearview mirror that he put there for decoration. True story. Be 15-year-old me. Living in rural area with dad on summer vacation. There is wildlife problems all the time, caused by deforestation or some shit. 2 a.m. It's so fucking dark outside, I can't see a thing. Get woken up by loud, violent scraping sound coming from nearby. Nearly have heart attack. Go to check it out. Black bear is clawing down the window to the veranda, where we keep our fridge. Go wake dad. Load up 30-30 foot rifle and pass it to him. Bear has smashed out the window and is halfway inside by the time we get back there. First round fired hits it in the shoulder, then a second to the head. Dad is pissed off and goes back to bed. Bear hanging halfway inside the house. I had to clean up the mess. Go outside and lay down the tarp. Going to push bear off window so it falls back onto the tarp and can be rolled up. Get a good look at the bear. It's covered in nasty beige wood ticks the size of your thumb. I'm talking half-foot width patches where you can't even see the bear underneath the parasites. Obviously has every disease a bear can contract. Patchy hair, malnourished, ugly as fuck. I vomit, but manage to swallow it back down. Go back inside and find a hockey stick to push the bear with. Facing the bear now. I noticed that the second shot only grazed the skull and hit its ear. Watch the thing for a moment and it is completely motionless. Go to push it down. Bear suddenly twitches and swings its head up the second I touch it. Turned 360 degrees and noped the fuck out of there. Shot bear 2 more times before it died. Blood is everywhere. I am so freaked out, I'm shaking. My face went. I still have to clean up all the blood and the giant parasites. Be me, 13 years old. Mom sends me to live with my dad, which is a nice way of saying she kicked me out. Dad lives in a shitty trailer park. Front door sometimes does not close right. Dad is not home yet. I put on a movie and shit. Falls asleep. Wake up because it's hot as balls inside. Front door's fucking open. Walks over to close it. I can see the street from here. 3 dudes walking over to me. Scared shitless. Think I'm gonna get jumped. They don't look like the type to be in this neighborhood. Think they're Mormons. Close the door before they get too close. Nothing happens after that. Fast forward like 2 weeks. Taking out the trash. See the 3 dudes again. Walking my way. Try to ignore them, but they stop right in front of me. Try to stare them down, but holy fucking shit, these dudes are creepy. All have really weird long, gaunt features, light hair and light eyes. All have black slacks and a white button-up. Try to go around them so I can throw out the trash. They move in front of me. Try going the other way. They move. Hey man, what the fuck man? What the fuck's your problem, man? I don't got shit on me. If you're gonna rob me, I'll kick your asses, man. You don't know me, man. They just fucking stand there. Continue to babble about how I'm gonna kick their asses. They just fucking stand there. The one on the far right makes a noise. I wouldn't call it a word, cause it was just like, ugh. Points at my chest. Try moving around them again. They let me go this time. I keep walking, and when I look back, they are facing me. When I am walking back, they walk out of my sight. Not really going anywhere, they just keep walking. Never tell anyone about it. Please tell me it was just a trio of crackheads, and not aliens. With that said, I've got one. It happened when I was a little kid, but a handful of other people witnessed it. Not really paranormal, but it spooked me. 4th grade. Kids used to hang out at the skating rink every Friday. Me and my friends, Travis, Ryan, and Billy, not their real names, are zipping around as fast as we can. Most kids just get dropped off there, but there are some parents hanging around, plus the staff, so it's not just kids. BRB guys, I'm gonna go pee. I hop off the rink and skatewalk my way to the bathroom. When I come out, this man tells me that my parents are at the hospital and that I need to go with him. Your mom got hit by a car. He shows me a badge and tells me he's a cop. I believe him and go with him. As I am walking to this car, Travis and Ryan come running out, and Travis is screaming, "Anon, come back, that man's a creep." Uh-oh. The man grabs me and drags me to his car. I am trying to pull away. Just then, Billy rushes out of the building with some parents and staff running after him. Man lets me go, jumps into his car, and peels out of the parking lot. Travis told me that exact same dude tried to lure him and his sister into his car while they were walking home from school, told them he was a cop too. They almost got into his car, but our teacher saw them and came outside, and the man drove away. If my friend had not recognized that dude, I might have been assaulted or murdered. We were both fucking lucky.